Miss Checka. You will never guess what I am. Maybe you can guess from the trumpet sounding and the angels singing. That's Shakespeare's house. Yes, Miss Checka has finally made it to the mothership in Stratford-upon-Avon, England, and that is the house where Shakespeare was born. I cannot obviously in one little video tell you all about Shakespeare, so I will just tell you very little bit about his life, and then I will speak from my cold, stone, dead heart about why he's such a wonderful person that we still celebrate even 400 years, and this is the 400th anniversary, 400 years after his death. Little bit about his life. He was born here in this town. It's not a huge town. It's not that far from Oxford. It's not that far from London. It's a busy town. It's a nice town. But it's not a huge city. He was born here. His dad was a glove maker. When they were little, they had lots of money. They weren't fabulously wealthy, but they had money. And then they lost the money. Dad's not so good with money. So he grew up just with enough money to go to school, but not with enough money to go to college. Even though this is close by to Oxford, and frankly it's close by to Cambridge, he didn't go to either of those universities. He didn't go to any university. Instead, he did what young people still do today that have a big dream in their heart. He went off to the big city, in this case London, and he became an actor. And now, when we think of acting, we don't necessarily think right away of the theater. Sometimes we think of the movies and maybe, going to New York or going to Los Angeles and becoming an actor. And we also think of actors as being really famous, really important. But back then when he went to London, first of all, acting was brand new as a profession, that was something you could even do. Playwriting was brand new as a profession. And it wasn't the most respectable thing that you could be doing. So it wasn't clear when he left that this was going to be, for fame and fortune. But he did go to London. He was an actor. He started acting in the reign of Queen Elizabeth. She's the one that you have seen in all the movies with really, painted pale skin, red hair. When she died, her cousin whose head she chopped off, son James, became king, and he was in an acting company called called The King's Men. Actually, one of the reasons that his language has still been accessible for people over the centuries is that King James, had a Bible published called the King James Bible. That's the one that you hear that's really old-fashioned, that has like thou shalt not and thou shalt this and thou shalt that. Well, that's the same language, more or less is the same time period as Shakespeare. So people who grew up reading that Bible can still, read and understand his plays pretty well. He was a successful playwright. He made a fair amount of money. In fact, when he retired, he came back to this town, bought himself a nice house. He was married and had children, but it was not a super happy marriage. Like, we don't have a whole lot of details. We know that she was a little bit older than she was. We know it was probably a shotgun wedding, like probably she was pregnant and they had to get married. We also know that when he died, he didn't leave her anything except for the second best bet. Not the first best bet, the second best bet. So that's just a little skeleton of his life. Now, speaking from my heart, why is Miss Checka, that's me, why am I so excited to be in this town? Listen, if you have had an English teacher that crushed the joy out of reading this man's play, if I was that English teacher, I'm sorry, I apologize. These plays, the reason that we still read them, they have everything. They have everything. It's like Mexican soap operas plus the last 10 like blockbusters that you liked, plus all of the most romantic movies that you see, everything. The way that he was able to capture, the man wasn't magic, all right? It's not that he captured every single human emotion ever, but I'm just gonna toss out some situations. The feeling that your parents don't understand you, the feeling that your children don't respect you, the feeling that you want to fight for something bigger than yourself and you're going to go into battle. The feeling that you're power hungry, you want to take things over. Maybe your best friends betrayed you. Maybe your family just doesn't understand why you're so in love with someone. All of those are in the play. All of those are in the play. The way that people talk to each other, the situations that they get in, there's just so many instances in the plays where you read it or you see it and you think, God, yeah, I've seen that guy, or I've been that person, or I felt that thing. The other thing is that he hits on all of these situations, but also these were not plays that were meant to be studied in school. They're not books, they're plays. So the way that most of us first encounter his plays, Shakespeare's plays, is sitting down and reading them in black and white, and that's just not how they were intended. So I challenge you, put it on your bucket list. Trust me on this, put it on your bucket list. If you have it within your power to once see one of his plays in the theater live, see it. And you'll get a little bit of the feeling of what it was like when he was alive to see these plays. You would have seen wealthy people, but you would have seen a lot of just rowdy people not sitting still in their seats, throwing stuff, yelling, clapping at the good parts, crying at the sad parts. Like, these were plays that were not intended to be experienced in a serious way. These are not plays that were intended to teach you a moral lesson. This is entertainment. We just kind of lucked out that not only is it entertainment, there's also these really deep human messages there. So that's my pitch from the heart. This is House. That's all I got. All right, bye.